Joining me live for more on this is Dr. Glenn Kolomeitz, who's a military lawyer and defence academic. Thanks for your time. You couldn't stress the importance of this more, could you? Ukraine talking about running out of munitions, essentially. This was passed, perhaps against the odds in the end. How significant will this be?
Tom, it's been a long time coming, but it's passed the House and it will pass the Senate. It is significant. $61 billion is a lot of money, but we have to break that down, obviously, into where that money is going. At the end of the day, I think it is $13.8 billion is going to acquiring advanced weapon systems, and ammunition. And it's the ammunition right now which is critical, which is allowing Russian forces to move forward and put Ukrainian forces on the back foot.
The question is what this does. It essentially shores up a stalemate, or does it actually allow Ukraine to go on the offensive properly for the first time in quite a while? What's your view on that?
Tom, I've been advising International Legion teams for some time now. One of those teams fought at Avdiivka, one of the last big battles, and they took ground from the Russians. Russian artillery then hit them, and because they didn't have Ukrainian counter-battery artillery support because of a lack of ammunition, they got forced back. So the Ukrainian forces have been on the back foot for some time. This funding package will put them back on the front foot, but I can't see them taking ground beyond what they had previously. So it will, in my view, it will go back to a stalemate, and we'll have to see how long this funding, the equipment from this funding, lasts.
Because then we get to the situation of, by then, perhaps it's a Trump presidency. He's indicated, I mean, we'll see, because he's sort of shape-shifting a little bit in a couple of areas, Donald Trump. Perhaps this will be another one on how much support he'd offer Ukraine. Now, one indication would be absolutely nothing. Basically, day one, Ukraine would be in a position of feeling as though the tide's just gone out. Is there a chance at that point Ukraine just has to say, all right, here's a ceasefire, we'll hand over some land, depending on where things are at? And if it got to that, would Russia say, well, you're not doing so from a position of strength anymore, too bad?
Tom, the US is the largest supplier of equipment and ammunition to Ukraine by far. Poland is about half. That's the next one down, followed by Germany. If the US cuts off that supply, and I've been saying this for a long time, I think that Ukraine will have to cede the territories in the east and Crimea, at least for the moment, in order to survive this. But look, if US funding cuts off, I think your point about the Russians continuing the momentum is well made. Without US support, what's stopping Putin from advancing further west? He's already attacking most of the country, certainly not just the east, with drones and missiles again. Nothing stopping him.
Except, I guess, the economy's fragile there. Yes, it's getting help from China, but it's been a meat grinder for Russia as well. He'd be wary too, you'd think, of thinking, what do I do? Seize the whole country? The people are not going to truly want to be a part of Russia, and you get to a situation of sort of, it's almost going back to World War II, the way Germany held nations, that you could only do so through a massive military presence. So maybe he'd be tempted, but think, claim the win, stake the win and move on?
Look, Putin doesn't want an insurgency in Ukraine. That's what he would almost certainly get if he did advance certainly on Kyiv or any further west. He can't. You're quite right. He can't afford an insurgency. He certainly can't afford to be infringing too much on NATO's eastern flank. So on their eastern flank. So look, I think you're right. Bear in mind though, Russia is on a total war footing. All of their production is aimed at supporting this war. And whilst their manning, their personnel has been in massive decline, they've been taking big numbers of casualties. They still have a very large strategic reserve. But I think you're right. Taking all of Ukraine would not be in Putin's best interests. But I can't see him being happy just with the eastern Crimea. I can see him wanting to go a bit further west, certainly.
Yeah, all right. Well, the good news, of course, has happened for Ukraine with that package, but it does certainly bring into focus, still pretty uncertain in the medium and long term. Dr. Glenn Kolomeitz, appreciate your time today. Thank you.